All right, guys. It is a terrific Taco Tuesday, April the 7th, 2020. And yes, that is my face when I see tacos. Today's focus is we're going to be reflecting over Unit 8 test questions 7 through 12, looking back at them, seeing what the answer was, see what you picked, and, why. And then at the very end of today's video, I will be offering one last chance of extra credit before I will be plugging in the grades into Focus to lock for the report cards for the third quarter. Yes. Extra credit? What? Ooh, we'll see. All right, let's get started. Yes, let's do. So, our first two questions actually go to a passage, and this was a passage that did give some fits to some folks. It was not necessarily one of those questions that was like right there is the answer. There was a couple of answer choices that were which one's the better choice. So this gave folks some problems during the test. So let's take a look at it. So the excerpt says, men and women of full age without any limitation due to race, nationality, or religion have the right to marry and to found a family. They are entitled to equal rights as to marriage, during marriage, and at its dissolution. Marriage shall be entered into only with the free and full consent of the intending responses. And this is Article 16 from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948. So this whole little thing is about marriage. So let's look at number 7. It says, what does Section 1 say about women's rights in marriage? And your choices are A, traditional marriage roles around the world are different. B, the article makes no statement about the role of women's rights. C, religion, nationality, and race must be considered in the choice to marry. And D, women have rights equal to men as far as marriage law shall be concerned. The answer is D. It even says in the quote itself, in the little passage, it says they are entitled to equal rights as to marriage, during marriage, blah, blah, blah. So it's D. Number 8, what is the intention of Section 2? The intention. And Section 2 says marriage shall be entered into only with the free and full consent of the intending spouses. So both sides, the husband, wife, the two spouses. So, is it A, it opposes forced marriages? B, it requires partners to sign consent forms? C, it asserts that only people who are free can marry? Or D, it bans marriages arranged by parents? And the answer is A, it opposes forced marriages. And if you remember something we talked about last week when we were reviewing for the tests, and I'd said this during every class period, that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights said what rights that people should have, but they weren't necessarily enforced. You were not going to see the United Nations send in peacekeeping troops to a country because they were forcing people to marry. It's not going to happen. So they're not. The answer would not have been D. It doesn't ban marriages. It opposes it. It says they don't like it. So it just puts up the Declaration of Rights, puts up things that people should have, but it's not saying that the United Nations is going to go in and oppose it and enforce it. Number 9. Whereas states have pledged themselves to achieve the promotion of universal respect for and observance of human rights. The preamble, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The preamble to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights contains this section. You can tell it's kind of cut up a little bit. But what is the preamble's purpose? Is it to state the purpose of the United Nations? To provide reasoning behind subgroups that are part of the United Nations? Like, I'm not even going to finish that. You know it ain't that. It's not this. But keep going. C, to explain the reasoning for the Declaration of Human Rights. Or D, to protect citizens of member nations around the world. If you remember, way back in the second quarter, we talked about the preamble to the Constitution, preamble to the Declaration of Independence. We said a pre means before, is that little bit that comes before an actual document that tells you the reasoning why, the purpose of it. So the purpose of the preamble for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is to say why they have it. What's the purpose, the reasoning behind it? Yep, that's it. All right, number 10. During World War II, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, "Freedom means the supremacy of human rights everywhere. Our support goes to those who struggle to gain those rights or keep them." Now, based on this statement, what can you conclude was the United States' reasoning for being involved in World War II? Based solely on that statement. So this is a reading question. Is it A, to defeat the invading forces of the Axis powers, Germany, Italy, and Japan? B, to stop the spread of communism? C, to bring peace to war-torn Europe and Eastern Asia? Or D, to aid democratic nations under attack from dictatorial regimes? If you're looking solely at FDR's quote, then the answer is D. To aid democratic nations under attack from dictatorial regimes. He says, freedom means the supremacy of human rights everywhere. Human rights, freedom. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Our support goes to those who struggle to keep and gain these rights. So who are we supporting? Why are we getting involved? Because we want to support those who have lost their rights. And who would that be? That would be these democratic nations who have been invaded and taken over by the dictatorial regimes of Germany, Italy, and Japan. That's a hard question. Had a lot of folks miss this one. All right, let's look at 11. NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was founded in 1941 as a direct response to what global conflict? Conflict is your clue. Conflict. So a conflict is something is something physical, something that's going on. What is it? Well, it's not terrorism. We know that. It's not the Axis powers. They were defeated in World War II. That leaves us with the Cold War communism. Communism is an idea. It's an ideology. It's like a type of government. But the Cold War was a conflict. And that, my friends, is the answer. NATO was created by the United States and their allies in the late 40s as a response to the Soviet Union and its growing aggressiveness in Eastern Europe and into Asia, actually. The Soviet Union had actually created their own alliance called SEATO, the Southeast Asian Treaty Organization, that included them and China and a few other countries. So it was a response, NATO, which is an alliance to the Cold War, what was going on with us in the Soviet Union. All right, let's look at 12. Which of the following conflicts was not related to the Cold War? We did this question in one of our attendance quizzes, and we did it specifically during each class Thursday when we reviewed during our video chat for the test. And it says your choices was Gulf War, Korean War, Vietnam conflict, and the Cuban Missile Crisis. Well, I guess I just got too excited and put the answer up here already, but the answer is the Gulf War. Gulf War had nothing to do with the Cold War. It was all about our dependency on oil and the fact that Kuwait had a lot of it and we were friends with them and we wanted it and we didn't want Iraq to get it and keep it. In Korea, Vietnam, and Cuba was all about communism and stopping the spread of it. All right, that is the end of our questions. Yesterday's extra credit in closing, if you got your extra credit question right from yesterday, then you should be looking in focus and you should see where it was added in to gradebook. So you got 10 extra credit questions added into the gradebook for your Unit 8 test. Yay for you. I will be offering another chance at extra credit today at 3 o'clock on the dot. It will appear in general posts. So when you go into Teams, into your class, and click on your class, the first thing that pops up will be general posts. That's the first thing you see. You will have exactly 15 minutes to email your message. That means I put your extra credit question on at 3 o'clock, then you need to make sure you post it by 3:15. I will only accept answers between 3 and 3:15 and only through school email. Do not send me the answer through Remind. Don't call me on Google Voice. School email. Okay? Good. Tomorrow, we will go over questions 13 through 19 from the Unit 8 test, and that'll be it. Remember, we do not have school this Friday. No school Friday, but we do have school tomorrow and Thursday. So I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Have a good day.